Even though everyone sees a major issue within sports as the gender pay gap, the pay gap between the professional sports themselves is a larger issue due to the disparities between the pay gap and what they actually produce, justified by looking at fan presence, advertising, and merchandising. PSA, I know I look different in these videos. It's the night after and I just finished track practice. So within sports, the main way that athletes get paid is through their sponsorships. So even looking at these numbers, the amount an athlete is paid based on its sport, that gap is still unexplained. So it's estimated that the global sponsorship spending in 2016 was about $60 billion. And in North America, 70% of that sponsorship money was spent on sports alone. In 2017 to 2018, the NBA generated about $1.12 billion in revenue from sponsorships. So, like, they're still the highest paid league, but yet they make about, I want to say, $0.2 billion less than NFL, but yet NFL players are paid way less than NBA players. So that gap is unproportionate to the point that sponsorships pay the most money towards the athlete, because in that case, NFL players will be paid way more than NBA players. So within the world of sports, the viewers matter way less than I believe they should. The NBA Finals only had 15.14 million viewers, while the Super Bowl had 100.7 million viewers. Yet the average NFL salary is $860,000, while the average NBA salary is $7.7 million. This gap doesn't really reflect on how much people enjoy the sport or how much the sport's paid attention to within the sports world. So I don't know how this gap is correct, and I want to know why the gap is so big. So I did more research, and it's really because it is based on sponsorship, as I said in the previous clip. And I believe that this is wrong and that the fans and what they choose to watch should matter more within the athlete's pay. Continuing on about how the fans should matter more within how much an athlete gets paid, people purchase merchandise and such as jerseys and signed items to show their support for a certain athlete or certain team. And most of the money from that doesn't even go to the athletes. It goes towards the company or club that they play for, which in turn doesn't go to them, goes to the team. So, for example, the MLB makes about $10.3 billion in revenue, while they're the second highest paid sport, but yet they're still paid half of what the NBA is paid, and the NBA only makes $1.65 billion in revenue. And some people claim that it's because they make more because there's less people on the team, but the NFL gets paid less, a lot more less, and there's not that many less players. The difference isn't that substantial to create such a big gap within pay. So once again, it's back to the argument of I believe the fans should matter more and how much the athlete gets paid, because if the athlete brings in the fan presence, it's going to bring in the revenue for the club, which brings in the revenue for the sport. So it should be based more on fans. So in conclusion, the pay gap between all sports within the world of athletics is based on the wrong things and should be addressed more prevalently. There's too big of a gap within the sports to just leave the issue alone. To end my last video and finally show I'm done with this assignment, my doggy wanted to say hi. Howie, look at the camera. Okay, bye.